Yo, what is going on, everybody? We are live. This is our first call-in show. We're going to be doing this every single Wednesday. I have the number right down here in the bottom right-hand corner. If you guys want to call up and talk on stream, if you guys want to, if you guys call in, you will be on the stream. And you can ask any questions about college football or anything else. Yo, what's up, Drake? What's goody? Go Cats. We're going to talk some football, talk some week 9, and take some questions if anybody wants to call up. Also, keeping my eye on this Troy Coastal game. Coastal just now got a 2-score lead. It was a close one. I have some topics here. I'm going to see if we get a few more people in here first. If we don't get any calls, then I'll just start talking about some topics that I have about week 9, just about the playoff, the Heisman. What's your overall thoughts on Kentucky so far? I was very surprised. I mean, Stoops is doing a really good job there. And, I'd like to look up real quick what their over-under for their win total was at the beginning of the season, because they're 6-1, right? So they're already bowl eligible, and it's not even Halloween yet, so that's pretty crazy. I think that they go 2-1, if not 11-1, or 2-1. What am I talking about? 10-2 or 11-1. Like, they're having an amazing season. I was very surprised. They took me by surprise for sure. Yo, what's up, Anthony? Let me look up Kentucky's over-under for their win total preseason. Wow. Yeah, I just looked it up. The Vegas over-under for preseason for Kentucky was 6.5 wins. So if you bet the over for that, then if they get one more win this season, then you cash out on that. That's crazy. Definitely one of the more surprising teams this year, in my opinion. Yeah, you guys can call up this number. If you guys don't want to be on the stream, you can just ask me questions in the chat. That's fine as well. I'll answer them either way. I want to talk about a little bit of college football playoff as well. Some of the top contenders, talk about what kind of has to happen for teams to get in. We can start with Kentucky. I mean, what I think would have to happen for them to get in, I think that they could still get in if Georgia goes undefeated. I mean, they won't get to play in the conference championship. That's the only thing I'm thinking. But in order to play in the conference championship, they'd have to win out, of course, and they'd need Georgia to lose 2 games because Georgia has the head-to-head over them. So that's tough. I don't think that's going to happen. So another scenario where I could see them get in, they definitely need Alabama to lose in the SEC championship or to Auburn, and get them their second loss. I would think a Pac-12 champion, 1-loss Oregon team might get in over them. A 1-loss Pitt team that's an ACC champion might get in over them. I'm not sure. An undefeated Cincinnati probably gets in over them. A 1-loss Oklahoma Big 12 champion, I'm not sure if they get in over them. I think they need at least two of those teams to lose with Alabama. So, are we able to text that number? Are we able to text that number? I have a 12-team playoff format that I think could work. If you want, you could drop it in the chat, because that number is actually one that I got on Skype. So it's actually only on my laptop. So I got that number so you guys could call my laptop and then be on stream if you guys wanted to call. If you wanted to text, you could just put it in the chat, and I'll read it and we can talk about it for sure. But yeah, I think at least two out of these three, Oklahoma, Pitt/Wake Forest, whoever wins the ACC championship with one loss or so. Who I say, Oregon, Pitt, or Wake Forest, and then Oklahoma. I think two of those teams would have to lose, along with an Alabama in the SEC championship, or to Auburn, and then maybe even a Cincinnati loss for Kentucky again. Like, I think a lot would probably have to happen. I don't think that it's impossible that it couldn't happen, because this year has been crazy. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Cincinnati had a scary one against Navy. That was crazy. I was not expecting, if it was any team to play Cincinnati close in the AAC, I was not thinking that it was going to be Navy, because Navy's having a really bad year. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Another one I wanted to talk about was Pitt. I really wish there was a 12-team playoff this year, because think about all the teams that we would definitely get to see in the playoff. We'd definitely get to see maybe like probably four SEC teams. Like if the playoff started today, we would have 12 in a 12-team playoff. If the playoff started today, we'd have 4 SEC teams: Georgia, Kentucky, and then Alabama and Ole Miss probably. That's pretty crazy. And then we'd have a couple Big Ten teams in there for sure. Oregon, Oklahoma, Cincy, Pitt, I'd put in there. Yeah, I definitely hope that we get to see a 12-team playoff soon, because I feel like it would be so much better. Because in the scenario where we do have a one-loss Oregon team who beat an Ohio State in Columbus, probably the biggest win of the year so far. You could argue Texas A&M's win over Alabama was bigger. I think that they get in even in this 4-team playoff. Like, if Oregon wins out, I don't think they keep Oregon out, because they do have that non-conference win over Ohio State. And even if Ohio State looks better now than they did earlier, it's still on their resume. They went into Columbus. They beat Ohio State. That's a huge win. And I think Oregon gets in if they win out 100%. There's no way they can keep them out with that type of win. So, yeah, so Oregon is a lock for me to get in if they win out. I don't know if the committee feels this way, but if Cincinnati wins out, they should be a lock. I'm not sure if they will, just because that's how the committee is. They could take this win that they got against Navy and kind of say, well, you barely beat Navy. It only takes like that little of a thing to keep Cincinnati out of the playoff for the committee. Like, they're going to try their hardest to keep them out. I'm not sure if they can. I'm not sure if they will. But yeah, I'm really cheering for Cincinnati to make the playoff. Seeds 1 through 4 would get an automatic bye into the final 8. 8 through 9. 8-9 would play. Winner would face 1. 5-12 would play. Winner would face 4. 10-7 would play, winner would face 2, and 6-11 would face the winner of number 3. I think that's a really good system. So the 1 through 4 would get a bye, and then yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. I like that method a lot. Yeah, I like that. And another fun thing, I mean, the reason why I love college basketball so much is because the upsets in the 64 seed bracket. Like, if we did have a 12 seed playoff, we would see a ton of upsets. Like you said, if it was that scenario, like a 5 versus a 12, like if a 12 would beat a 5, like in the first couple years, and it would just be crazy. And then they go on to face the 4 seed and make a run. Like, that would be so awesome to see. Like, yeah, I really like that scenario a lot. I'd love that to happen. I think a 12-team playoff is coming. It's only a matter of time. Another topic that I did want to talk about after we're done talking about the playoff is some realignment news, because there has been a lot of realignment news going on, and I'm going to make a video on it soon. Kind of like just the ripple effect that Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC has caused is crazy. Like, them leaving the Big 12 has caused Big 12 to expand, which has caused the AAC to expand, which has caused the Sun Belt to expand, and it could mean the end for the Conference USA. Conference USA is kind of dying. It's losing its top teams, so I'm not sure, and it's looking like the Big 12 might even add a couple more teams. I'm pretty sure Memphis is in very heavy contention to join. With the 4 teams they have joining now, minus Texas, Oklahoma, the Big 12 will have 12 teams. I think that they're going to aim to have 14. So then there'll probably be divisions in the Big 12, 2 divisions. I'm guessing they'd probably name it the North and South. Like, South would be Texas teams plus Oklahoma teams, and then the rest, pretty much. Which in that case, I guess Central Florida would have to be in the North Division, so that doesn't really make any sense. But then after the 8-9 versus 1 winner would play the winner of 5-12 versus 4. Yeah, that makes sense. I like to see that a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense that if you do have a 12-team playoff, the top team should get a bye. I think that's fair. And that way it's not as many games, because I know we all want to see more games, but this is football. Like, it's not basketball where it does take more of a toll on your body. So I understand that, but I think in a system where the top 4 teams get a bye, that sounds like a perfect method to me. So I don't know who is going to make the playoff right now. I'm excited to see these Big Ten teams go at it. Like, all the big-time Big Ten teams are finally going to play each other, and we're going to find out who the real deal is. Michigan is probably going to disappoint us again. We'll see what they can do in East Lansing this weekend, and then I'm not sure if Michigan probably plays Ohio State next, or we're getting a call. Yo, what's up? You're on with Danny.
Hey, Danny, this is Drew. How are you?
Yo, what's up, Drew? How you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
So, might be off topic, but I think you do a very good job, and I think you're very partial and not unfair to Wake Forest.
Yo, so thanks, man.
We got Duke. Yeah, for sure. We got Duke coming up. Hopefully that's going to be you don't want to jinx it, but
yeah,
pretty confident about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you don't
What do
want
you
to
think
take
about the last
these.
4 games?
Man, the last 4 games after Duke is probably your hardest slate of the season. So, um, got to get by Duke. Can't look past them because they could be sneaky. I did see a cool stat that the last time Wake started, what are they, 7-0, 8-0? One of
7-0.
those. Yeah, last time they started 7-0 was like in the 40s, and they
During
actually
World War II, yeah.
yeah, and they actually lost to Duke the next game, which
Shit,
which is
seriously?
crazy. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I just thought it was interesting that I seen that, and that they're playing the same
That is a
team.
bad omen.
Yeah, but let me look up their schedule here, because I know they got a tough slate. You guys got Clemson after NC State, I'm pretty sure.
And then BC.
Oh, Boston College. Well, Boston College has kind of cooled down here recently. Last couple weeks. I think that should be a dub. NC State is iffy. They're up and down, man. So hopefully,
and we have to play Clemson as well.
yeah. Clemson's a tough defense, but you guys have one of the most high-powered offenses. So that
Did you watch the Army game by any chance?
I did catch some of it. I watched the highlights after as well. That was crazy. Crazy shootout.
I mean, it was unlike anything I've ever seen before, and Wake's defense was atrocious. But if
Yeah.
you just look at the time of possession, like,
Didn't you guys have
It
like
was-
12 minutes time of possession and scored 70? Yeah.
yeah. So as bad as the defense is horrible, for sure, but it does, in fairness to them, maybe knock a touchdown or two off. Like, they were on the field over 70% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, defense would get tired of that. But yeah, I think actually you guys match up really well against Clemson. Other than that Army game, your defense hasn't been too bad. So I think if your defense can come to play, Clemson's offense is terrible this year. So
Apparently, they haven't scored more than 20 points against a Power 5. I heard that stat flying around today.
yeah, I think Wake Forest matches up really well against Clemson. I think the hardest game left on the schedule will, the ACC championship will definitely be the hardest game if you have to go against Pitt or it's probably going to be Pitt, but that would probably
It's
be
gonna
the
be
hardest
Pitt,
game.
yeah. I used to think maybe VT, but I think it's Pitt. Although sneaky UVA.
Yeah,
I think
Virginia's creeping up,
potentially,
man.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
If they would have won that game against North Carolina, they'd be 6-1 right now. They'd be looking dangerous. Yeah,
Wait,
UVA.
so Danny, are you, just to change subjects a little bit if you don't mind,
No, I don't mind.
are you a WVU fan?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay, because I see this is West Virginia area, because I grew up in Maryland.
Oh, for real?
So I grew up right next door, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, I don't know anything about it, man. Honestly, I know y'all have had a tough season. I follow the Terps a little bit, not really. But I figure might as well get the neighbors' approach to how their team's doing. So I know y'all have had some tough losses, but what's West Virginia doing?
Oh, man, they've been disappointing this year. I'm hoping we just make a bowl at this point. 3-4. We lost the opener to Maryland. I actually wasn't too high on Maryland, even though that they started off real hot, because I seen the way
They're not that good.
Yeah, I seen the way that we played them, and we shot ourselves in the foot that game. I'm pretty sure we had 2 or 3 turnovers, and we still only lost by 1 possession on the road. And I knew Maryland wasn't legit, but yeah, we lost that one. That was tough. We got blown out by Baylor. That was terrible. There's that game, yeah. But really, the rest of our losses,
If
we
you
just
don't
been
mind me
shooting
asking,
ourselves in the
what's
foot.
West Virginia's biggest rival in the Big 12? Would you say?
In the Big 12. See, that's why I don't even like us in the Big 12, because
I figured you
yeah,
didn't. Yeah, that's why I'm at, because I don't even know, honestly. Like,
yeah, I would have to say, man, because our rivals are Pitt and VTech, and I guess you could say Maryland would be our third, but our rivals are in the ACC, the old Big East.
yeah.
Man, I don't even know who our biggest rival is. There's no one. I mean, I hate Oklahoma. We've never beaten them since we joined the Big 12. And we joined the Big 12 in 2012. We haven't beaten them since. We haven't beat Oklahoma. So that's the only team in the Big 12.
You still have to play them, right?
No, we played them. We lost.
This year?
Yeah, we lost on a last-second field goal on the road to them.
Shit, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, that's good. You're good. Yeah, that was a tough one because that was right after we beat Virginia Tech, and at the time Virginia Tech was ranked, and I was starting to get a little bit hyped.
That's actually probably I'm stupid. That's probably the biggest one, right? West Virginia, Virginia Tech, like.
Well,
has to be the biggest.
Our biggest rivalry is against Pitt, the backyard brawl they call it.
True.
But we haven't played Pitt in a while, but we actually play them next year. I'm going to the game. It's the first time we're playing Pitt in at least 10 years. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Why don't you think that game gets scheduled more often?
I'm not sure. I guess our athletic directors just took it off the schedule since we've been in the Big 12. It just hasn't been. But it's coming back. I think when we play them next year, we're scheduled to play them, I think, 4 years in a row. 2 games on the road, 2 games at home. So.
All right, that'll reunite it.
Yeah.
Or reignite it, I should say, for sure.
Yeah, we actually just got back to play in Virginia Tech this year. We played them this year, and then we played them in 2017. That was the first time we played them for a while too. So we're getting our rivals back on the schedule. So I'm excited about that.
Definitely.
Because you have to have
All right,
teams
Danny.
that you love to hate. It's just.
Oh, Danny, I have a bunch of teams I love to hate.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That was a perfect segue. I was going to talk about something different, but teams I love to hate. Notre Dame. So, Danny, obviously I'm biased. I'm a Wake Forest fan.
Yeah.
But objectively, when you look at what Notre Dame has done, how are they not being rewarded by just losing to a highly ranked team? Like, their best win is, I guess, Wisconsin at this point, if not at Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
So
I don't think that VTech win is any good. Virginia Tech lost to Syracuse. I don't. Well, Syracuse actually been playing pretty good, but
with Notre Dame, I don't get it.
I think a lot of it is they made the playoff last year. Their brand. That's a big thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really look at the Wisconsin win too highly, even though I do think Wisconsin is actually in good position to win the Big Ten West at this point.
Okay, I actually agree with you on that, which is wild to think about.
Yeah,
because they were considered like trash in like week 3, week 4.
I mean, yeah, all Iowa. I'm not high on Iowa at all anymore. Like, they've killed.
Me neither.
They've killed that.
I will say though, Danny, I was so high on Iowa going into Penn State, and even though their quarterback got knocked out, I still thought it was like maybe I was just kind of being an Iowa homer. Not that I'm from there or anything, but just like being biased because I like them or thought they were good. But I was like, their quarterback did definitely get knocked out, but at the same time, Iowa has like a really good defense. It's very easy to say, oh, well, like we would have cruised to victory. Well, maybe you would have had like a couple pick sixes or fumbles, but you can never know. But then they went and blew it to Purdue.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, just talking about the Big Ten, then Penn State goes and loses to Illinois. And then I get like all these college football fans that tell me personally the ACC is so bad. But Danny, UVA blew out Illinois.
Yeah.
Illinois beat Penn State. So maybe like outside the top tier of the SEC, most of the teams are pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, people will say the ACC is having a down year, but it's really just because Clemson's having a down year. The brands are having a down year. The teams that aren't brands are having good years in the ACC. Wake Forest, Pitt, Virginia. And I just hate how the bigger name schools like carry so much weight to a conference, but it shouldn't be that way, because if Wake and Clemson had their records switched, Clemson was undefeated and Wake Forest was whatever Clemson is, 4-3. People would be saying the ACC is really good this year, better than it's been in years, I think. You there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
No, but I was saying I completely agree and I would go even maybe one step further. Because at the end of the day, what Wake has done, I think other than Duke, if any other ACC school had done that, there would be so much more national media and, to your point, like the name brand hype.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine UNC, honestly, even Pitt, but like Pitt, UNC, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, even outside Clemson, but like you go even NC State, Miami, like Florida State, like everyone in the country would be like, oh, like that's a hell of a football team, but because it's Wake, people just like laugh them off, and they're like, oh, like that's they're undefeated.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way, but yeah, I mean, even North Carolina, they were highly rated going into the season. They've just stunk it this year, really.
Oh, yeah, apparently they have a Heisman quarterback and a great head coach, both of which apparently didn't pan out.
Yeah, not looking too good for them right now.
All right, Danny, so what's your right now, gun to your head? All right, that's not fair, but you know what I mean. I'll put some pressure on you. What are your top 4 teams right now? Not even who you think will be in the playoffs, but just right now, like, who's the best 4 teams in America?
Who's the best 4 teams, or who I would put in the playoff right now? Just the best.
Honestly both, but especially just right now, like today, the best 4.
Today, the best 4. Number 1, for sure, Georgia. They got to be number 1. 2 is tough. It's tough because they haven't played that good of opponents this month since they've looked this good. But right now, if I had to pick, I would pick Ohio State. They look like the second best team in the country right now, to me. Just the way that they're playing. We're going to find out about them soon, though, as they play Michigan, and they got Penn State this week, which I don't know. They'll probably blow out Penn State. I'm not sure about that. But number 3, I'd have to go Cincinnati. Even though they had an off game against Navy, they still, to me, look like one of the top teams in the country. And then number 4 is where it's hard. Man, teams who look the best right now. That's a tough one.
It is tough.
The 4th one is hard because there's a lot of options.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who'd you have 3 again?
Cincy. I have Cincy 3.
Yeah.
Man, 4 is tough because I'm really not that high. I think this might be one of Alabama's worser teams like at least in the past few years.
I'd agree with that.
But I mean, even that close game they've had against Florida kind of looks worse now.
Okay, do you think there's any chance Florida could beat Georgia Saturday?
A chance? Yeah, but
Well,
not.
obviously there's always a chance, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
They are starting Anthony Richardson at quarterback. I don't think that really does them too much help, but I think it is probably better than starting Ebony Jones. No, I don't think there's a chance they win.
Wonder, though.
I think they could cover. They could cover the spread.
Yeah.
Wait, who beat Bama? Florida?
No. What I'm saying is Florida nearly beat Bama.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we all have a consensus that like, oh, Alabama could definitely compete with Georgia. Well, I don't know. Like, you know, just the SEC is crazy, but you wonder. I mean, hey, they only lost by 2 to the team you claim can hang with them, so maybe they can hang with them.
I honestly think Georgia is a level above Alabama this year. I think Alabama probably has the best chance to beat Georgia if they, like, in an SEC championship matchup. But I don't think they do. I don't think Alabama's defense is as good this year.
I think that's fair.
Their defense is kind of holding them back. I mean, Texas A&M is supposed to be, they're more of a defensive team themselves, and they put up 40-something on Bama. And the way that the Bama defense looked in the second half of the Florida game, where Florida rallied back and almost forced overtime, was, I don't know. I also think that Bryce Young, I don't know how he's going to do against the Georgia pass rush. But that is an interesting thing to think about, because I also think that if there is like a way to beat Georgia, I would say you'd have to throw it deep and get some explosive plays, which Alabama could do. They definitely have the athletes
for sure.
Yeah, they have the athletes. They have Mechie and Jamison Williams, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how Bryce Young will do under that pressure. So
I hear you, Danny. Well, honestly, man, I gotta go, so I'll let you go. But I know this was the first call-in show thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Just even if it takes time and patience, even if I'm the only caller tonight, man, like, people definitely want this content. It's cool. Just keep at it.
Thanks, man. We'll be doing this every Thursday, same time. So, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, Danny.
You too,
Go
man.
Deep.
All right. First caller. It was 17 minutes of possession time for Wake that game. That's still crazy, though. I said 12 minutes or something. I knew I was wrong, but I knew it was somewhere around there. Big 12. Get another call here. Yo, what's up? You're on with Danny? All right. Big 12-wise, I'd assume it'd be Cincinnati here in a few years. Yeah, that could be a good one. I mean, I'm really excited to have some East Coast teams in here with West Virginia coming up. Yo, what's up? You're on with Danny. All right. Losing connection or something. West Virginia is going to get these East Coast teams in here for the Big 12. So UCF, Memphis, rumored to join. Cincy, of course. So, oh, the call dropped. That was you, Drake. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. You just ask your questions on here then. All right, that's cool, man. Sounds good. Let me check up on this Coastal game. The Coastal game ended, but they only won by a touchdown to Troy. I honestly think Coastal Carolina's team last year might be better than this year's Coastal team. Grayson McCall, he's only a sophomore, so he'll be back next year. Maybe next year will be Coastal's best year. I still think last year they were probably better. I got a few other topics we can talk about here. I want to talk about the realignment news I've been hearing. There's a few teams that are joining the AAC. I think the Sun Belt is looking like it might be the best Group of 5 conference here of the future. I know my boys, the Marshall Thundering Herd, are probably going to join the Sun Belt, and I'm really excited about that. After that loss to Georgia, do you think that Kentucky is going to be coming out versus Mississippi State looking to have a revenge game? If so, do you think that'll end up hurting or helping them? Hold on, let me make sure I read that right. All right, so for the first question, I think they could come out hot, and I think it's a good thing. Mississippi State is a good team this year. Like, they're not anything crazy, but they're a good team. I think the bye week really helps Kentucky, and you have a week to kind of just get it back together, realize that you guys still have a really good season, even after losing to the number 1 team in the country on the road. You guys could still have a really special season, and you just kind of gotta not let that get in your head too much and move on, keep winning games like you were before, because the game before the Georgia game against LSU, I thought that was the best Kentucky looked. They just absolutely played their best football and ran all over, threw all over, like just played an all-around good game against LSU. I think they need to get back to that because Mississippi State is, especially defensively, is nowhere near as good as Georgia, and you can kind of get back to the game plan, execute. Chris Rodriguez, can't let his bad game affect him anymore throughout the season because he only had like 9 yards rushing. It's very hard to run against that Georgia defense. Hopefully he doesn't let that get into his head and he gets the ball rolling again, and that kind of opens up the play action pass. And yeah, I think Kentucky is going to win. I don't think they're going to come out here and slump because they lost to Georgia. I think that I think Kentucky's going to come out and win for sure. I think playing hard for revenge. I'm not sure if they should. I think they should definitely play with the chip on their shoulder, because they are a really really good team, and I think that would help them. I think it would. For Kentucky to make the playoffs, what do you think will need to happen? A lot. Actually, I think Alabama has to lose. I think actually Cincinnati would have to lose. Cincinnati would probably have to lose because I think they put in an undefeated Cincinnati over a 1-loss Kentucky. I think Oregon would probably have to lose a game. and Oklahoma would probably have to lose maybe two. I think they put a 1-loss Oklahoma Big 12 champion over a 1-loss Kentucky team who didn't make the conference championship. That's just probably how it will be. So I think Oklahoma, 2 losses, even if one comes in the Big 12 championship. And I think an Alabama loss in the SEC championship to Georgia. So that's 2. And I think one or the other of these 2. Or probably one of these last 3 things to happen with those first 2. Either Cincinnati loses a game, Oregon loses one more, or Wake or Pitt loses one more. If Oklahoma loses 2 and Alabama loses again, and then one of those other 3 things happen, I could see Kentucky making it if they run the table. They have to run the table, which I think is realistic. I think they could do it. With how weak Cincinnati's schedule is, would you agree in saying they need to blow out every team they play? The best team they would play would be Tulsa or SMU. I would say, if I was part of the committee, I would put in an undefeated Cincinnati team as long as they're blowing out most teams. But how the committee is, it's going to be hard for them to get in. They definitely need to go undefeated. They cannot have any loss. They have to be 13-0. I think they could do it. They probably still have to play Houston as well, along with Tulsa and SMU. Probably SMU twice with the AAC championship. So they have to run the table to get in. I think that they need to blow out a decent amount of their opponents, most of them, to get in, which they've done so far. I mean, their only squeaker game has been against Navy this past week, and with most teams, you'll say, okay, that's their one game, and they still came out with the win. They didn't lose off of that. So, I think if they only have this one game against Navy where they didn't blow them out, and then maybe if they have one more game like that, I think they could let it slide. But I think they need to blow out a majority of their games, run the table, and I'd say they need a few more things to happen actually to get in. I'm not sure if the committee will put them in just by going undefeated. I think a lot like Kentucky, I think Alabama would have to lose the SEC championship as well. Because, to be honest, if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, so Georgia and Alabama both have 1 loss, the committee will put in a 1-loss Alabama and a 1-loss Georgia over Cincinnati. And that's 2 SEC teams. You got to think a Big Ten team will get in. And then Oklahoma will probably get in if they go undefeated. A 1-loss Oregon team that's Pac-12 championship will probably get in, especially with their non-conference win over Ohio State. So you got to think Cincinnati really needs Georgia to beat Alabama in the SEC championship, or Alabama to lose before that, because a 1-loss Alabama team and a 1-loss Georgia team both get in the playoff over Cincinnati. And that's 2 SEC teams with 3 Power 5 conference champions that have a shot at getting in with a Cincinnati, so with only 2 spots left. So that is a tough thing for Cincinnati. I would say they're really hoping for Alabama to lose in the SEC championship for them to have a real shot at getting in the playoff. The remaining games are Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida, SMU, East Carolina. Okay, so they don't even have to play Houston. So maybe they need to... I mean, if they had a Houston on the schedule, it would probably make it better. But yeah, they're going to have to blow out Tulane 100%. Tulane's not good. SMU just blew out Tulane. They'll have to blow out Tulsa pretty good, at least back up 2 scores, maybe 3. South Florida, they're going to have to blow out. And then SMU, if they can beat SMU, if that's their squeaker game, they just have to run the table. And then hope some of these other teams, Power 5 teams, in consideration win out or lose a game. Yo, what's up, Mike? What if Bama loses the Iron Bowl and Ole Miss wins out? Okay, yeah, that's a cool scenario to think about. So Ole Miss would make the SEC championship against Georgia. That would be really cool. I think it would be the same scenario. I think if Ole Miss beats Georgia, they get in the playoff as a 1-loss team, and Georgia also gets in. I think both teams get in if Ole Miss wins that. 100%. 100%. Both those teams will get in if they beat Georgia. They'd both get in over a Cincinnati team. 100%. Yeah, Bama would be out. If they lose one more game, they're out, in my opinion. If somehow... I don't even want to think about a 2-loss Alabama team getting in over like a Cincinnati or someone else, or a 1-loss Pitt ACC champion. But it could happen. So, say Ole Miss loses one more game, but it can't beat Auburn. Someone else. And I know this is an unrealistic scenario, but just for the talk of it, say Ole Miss loses one more game on their schedule that's not Auburn. Auburn beats Alabama. Auburn also loses another game. Or Auburn loses to Ole Miss. Ole Miss loses another game, and then Alabama loses to Auburn. And then we have a 2-loss Alabama team in the conference championship, and they beat Georgia. A 2-loss Alabama SEC champion. Would they get in over a Cincinnati? Would they get in over a 1-loss ACC champion in Pitt or Wake Forest? That is crazy. So, I don't think that would just happen. It's just a completely stupid scenario that I'm just thinking about in my head. And the thing is, the committee would probably put in a 2-loss Alabama. Who's Ole Miss losing to? Well, I'm not saying they will. I don't think they will. I'm just saying, like, for the purpose of the scenario, like, just thinking about it. Two losses equals out, in my opinion. Yeah, I completely agree. Me, personally, I completely agree. Even if they're a conference champion, 100% agree. If you got 2 losses, you should not even be considered. Unless, like, there's... Well, no. You shouldn't be considered. No. I'm not saying that I think it should happen. I'm just thinking, like, about how it could happen. The committee could make that happen. They've put a 2-loss Alabama team in the playoff before, I'm pretty sure. So I completely agree with you, Mike. I don't think it should happen. I think it's kind of bullshit, to be honest, like how that can happen. But I just thinking about the scenarios. Yo, what's up, Wolf of Wall Street? Dansky, let me tell you, Ohio is subpar compared to my wallet. All right. Thanks for letting me know. thoughts on Ohio State / Oregon debate. Well, I think Ohio State looks like the better team right now. But the thing is, you can't go back and play games. So, Oregon's going to have that win, and it looks really good for them. And Oregon has looked worse since then. Ohio State's looked better, but you can't go back and play games. That's just the way it is. And at the time of the game, Oregon played the better game. And I think it's a complete season, though. So you definitely have to take that into consideration whenever it comes to the playoff, because even though it was at the beginning of the season, and these could be two completely different teams at the end, that win for Oregon is still on their resume, and it is a really, really big win. And as much as Ohio State fans and probably their team wants to go back and try to replay that game, that's just not the way it works. So they're going to have to live with that one. They're going to have to run the table if they want to make the playoff for Ohio State. But if Ohio State runs the table, they will make the playoff. It seems like after the loss to Oregon, Ohio State has been a completely different team. What do you think is the reasoning for it? They have 3 games left versus ranked opponents. Yeah, I mean, you could say that they have had a cupcake schedule so far, and I wouldn't disagree. Other than Oregon, Ohio State really hasn't played anyone all that great. And people would tell you, oh, well, Indiana played Michigan State close, stuff like that, and then they blew out Indiana. Indiana's not a good team. I mean, they were a good team last year, but this year they've been terrible. They have 2 wins on the season, and Indiana's not a good team. I don't believe that whenever people tell me that. I honestly think that Ryan Day is a really good coach. I've been really impressed with Ryan Day, and I think he's put a lot of confidence in C.J. Stroud, and they kind of unlocked the keys to Henderson, who has been an absolute beast. That freshman duo has been putting up numbers. And then they have their veteran receiver, Chris Olave. Garrett Wilson is good too. I mean, they have one of probably, I would say, probably the best offense in the country. Ohio State does. And I think they've played kind of like that. Definitely took it up a notch in recent weeks, but that offense has been good since week 1 against Minnesota. The improvement has been in the defense. I think their defense has played a lot better these last few games. They've kind of gotten it together, and I'm not really sure what they did. I haven't watched a ton of Ohio State games. I've watched a lot of the highlights. I've tuned in for a quarter or so here and there, but, there's other games I want to watch. I don't want to watch Ohio State just blow out everybody. I want to watch these better close games that are going on against, ranked versus ranked opponents, just the good games that are on. But I have watched Ohio State, and I think they've improved tremendously on defense, and they look like a lot better of a team right now, and I would say that they look like the second best team in the country right now. I would say that. Based on eye test alone, I would say that they look like the second best team in the country going into week 9. Mike says Ohio State and Michigan overrated in his opinion. That's kind of where I'm iffy. It's kind of a wait and see situation. I won't agree with you. I won't disagree with you, because we haven't seen them play against the hardest competition in the Big Ten yet. Ohio State's got Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State coming up. Same with Michigan. They had the same 3. They have Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State coming up. And we're going to see these top dogs go at it. We're going to find out who the best team in the Big Ten East is. And we're going to find out real soon. We're going to find out real soon. last week in the 9 overtime game, what went wrong for Penn State? Man, a lot of things went wrong. I mean, what is that guy's name? Chase Brown, the running back for Illinois, is crazy good. He ran for 240 yards on Penn State's defense, and Penn State's defense is the better part of that team. I mean, they have weapons on that offense, like mainly Jahan Dotson at wideout, but Penn State's defense is kind of the best part of that team. They're definitely a defensive team, and I really think Chase Brown and Illinois' run game kind of just found a way to beat kind of their defense a little bit. I mean, he was running all over them. He had a game, got it to overtime, and then Sean Clifford, I seen a lot of things that said, well, Sean Clifford was only 50%, 60% when he was playing that game, and he looked like it. He looked like he was not playing like he was in all those games before the Iowa game when he got hurt. So, yeah, Sean Clifford did not play well, and I cannot believe in 9 tries they didn't get in the end zone and win that game. They had plenty of opportunities. They did a Philly special type play. I forget what overtime. I think it was early. I think it was the second overtime, maybe the third, where they did a trick play. It was like a Philly special. They passed it to Sean Clifford. He was wide open to win the game, and it went right off of his hands. And another one, I was actually at Red Robin eating, and they had the game on, and I was watching all 9 of these overtimes, so I was eating a fat-ass burger. And I was just going insane because Penn State wanted to lose this game so bad when I was watching it. Like, they had an opportunity in the first overtime. I was talking about when Sean Clifford dropped that ball where they would have won in like the second or third overtime. In the first overtime, they kicked the field goal. Illinois had the ball. Illinois threw long side. Snapped the ball on the right hash, threw it over towards the left sideline. Penn State jumped. Penn State's corner, safety, not sure who it was, jumped that, had a clean pick to win the game. They kicked the field goal with their possession. If they pick it off, game over. Dropped it. Completely dropped it. That was the game in their hands. And honestly, I just think Illinois wanted this game more. Illinois wanted this game more when it got down the stretch in overtimes. And Penn State's defense tried to hold on as much as they could, but I give a ton of credit to Illinois defense as well because they balled their butts off, man. They balled their butts off, holding Penn State for sure. Iowa can still win out. Yeah, I think they. I don't know. I don't think they will. I think they can. But I don't know. I've kind of fell off the hype wagon for Iowa. They looked really bad against Purdue. Danny, I'm peacing out, but dig the content. I'll keep watching for sure. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you. Thanks for swinging by and asking me some questions. Thank you a lot. Drake, this week, what would your choice for a game of the week be? What do you think the keys are for that game? All right, so this is a good question. There's a couple games that I'm really excited to watch this weekend. One of them, for a surprise, is San Diego State versus Fresno State. That is going to be a good game. The Mountain West has been really entertaining this year. And last week, my favorite game to watch was Fresno versus Nevada. Jake Haener versus Carson Strong quarterback battle. It went down to the wire. Came down to a 2-point conversion. To a lot like the Florida-Alabama game did. And Nevada, on the 2-point conversion, they completed the pass just barely out of bounds. It was insane, and that was my favorite game to watch last week. So I'm really excited for another big Mountain West matchup in San Diego State versus Fresno for sure. More of a Power 5 game. Obviously, we have Michigan State, and a lot of people say Michigan's overrated. A lot of people say Michigan State's overrated. I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't agree with either of those because I honestly don't know yet. So we're going to find out. I'm very excited to watch that game. I'm sure if they win, whoever wins, even if it's close, most people will say, well, they're still both overrated. They played in a close game and they're both not that good. They're both going to lose to Ohio State. And I mean, that could happen. But either way, I'm really excited for this Michigan State game. I think it's really going to tell us a lot about how the Big Ten East will unfold and just the Big 12 in general. And even further than that, I think it will tell us a lot of how the playoff will go. So, yeah. Also, Auburn Ole Miss. That is going to be a crazy game. 100% have to watch that. I'm almost more excited for that game now. It's been building on me. I'm very excited for the Ole Miss Auburn game. That actually, I might be more excited for that game than I am the Michigan State game. I mean, the keys to success for Auburn, because you did ask me what the keys to success would be for each team. I'm going to go with the Auburn Ole Miss game to answer that question. And I think the keys for Auburn is I think they have a better defense than Ole Miss's defense. But obviously, Ole Miss has the better offense. So I think Bo Nix has potential. I mean, we all make Bo Nix jokes. But Bo Nix has not been terrible this year. And the game he had against LSU in Death Valley was crazy. I think he could have a similar type game on this Ole Miss defense. But it's how much can Auburn's defense slow down Ole Miss's offense, because Ole Miss's offense is crazy good, and Matt Corral is going to come out rushing. I mean, the way he ran in that Tennessee game, you have to put a spy on him or something, because you're not going to stop this team. Because if you're going to drop everybody back into pass coverage on Matt Corral, he's going to run all over you himself, and they will hand it off to the running back, and they will go, if they can get it down to 4th and 3 or shorter, they'll probably go for it most of the time. And I think that their offense could drive down the field, and Ole Miss can just do everything. They can have explosive plays. They can just drive down the field slow and methodically. They score and put up points. And I think Auburn, Bo Nix is going to be able to put up points. Tank Bigsby can have a big game running the ball. I think Auburn's going to put up some points as well. How much can Auburn needs to just make enough stops to win the game, and we'll see if they can do it. Just a short mini-series ideas, top 10 players at each position, including the offensive line. I like that. I'm definitely going to come out with a similar series, probably at the end of the season. I'll do my draft prospect rankings. Kind of rank who I think are the best at each position going into the draft. Probably going to do some mock drafts, stuff like that. I'm not sure. I was planning on doing some college basketball content on the channel, especially after college football season ends. I'm not sure if you guys would be down to see that, but I'm definitely down to. I watch a ton of college basketball, so I'm definitely down to make some content on it if you guys want to see it. Always down for college basketball. Favorite college sport? All right, bet. Definitely gonna have some college basketball content coming out here as the football season unwinds and we get towards March Madness and stuff. I'm very excited about my Mountaineers having a disappointing year in football, but basketball season, I'm very excited. And I seen the preseason top 25 for basketball. It was so terrible. I don't even want to get into that right now. So terrible. Pretty sure they have the defending champion, Baylor. And I know they lost their top guys. But at number 8, like, how do you have your defending champion at number 8? Crazy. I'll probably just stay on here for a little bit more, at least probably till 12. I was planning on going from 10:30 to 12. That's kind of where I'm gonna go every week. I'll just stream every week here on Thursday night, same time, 10:30 to 12. I'm beyond excited for this Kentucky team. So it looks like we're 12 guys that could start on most teams. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you guys I haven't been keeping up with this, but Oscar Tshiebwe, is he gonna be playing for you guys? Because he was the former WVU guy. He played pretty good for us when he was a freshman. Transferred over to you guys. Is he gonna play for you guys, or what's he doing down there? I'm actually going to a basketball game tomorrow. It's a Bob Huggins charity game. Doesn't count towards the season, but I'm going to that. Gonna see how WVU boys are gonna be looking this year. I'm very excited. Yo, what's up, Mike Perry? Do you still wear man-sized diapers? Yeah, sometimes, man. Sometimes. I actually want to check that out. Oscar Tshiebwe. Will he be starting this year or playing? Don't know if you guys named the starting lineup yet. Yeah, Oscar is from what you've seen. All right, cool. Definitely keep my eye on that, because from what I've seen, it was kind of like it was a mutual thing. He left us like in a respectful way, like no disrespect or anything. Honestly, probably just wanted a better chance to get into the NBA. So I have no hard feelings. I definitely want to watch him play at Kentucky. He played great for us his freshman year. We have a good freshman center who got redshirted, played a little bit last year, but got redshirted, so he's still a freshman this year. Isaiah Cottrell. And he is a beast. I'm very excited to watch him play. Very excited. He's a center who's great in the post, great at defense, can shoot the tray ball. I love his game. I'm very excited. It's going to be a fun year for college basketball. I'm pretty sure Gonzaga is ranked number 1 again. We'll see if they can finally win a championship or not, but they're getting the recruits. I'm pretty sure. What's his name? The real tall, skinny dude, number 1 overall recruit. I can't think of his name right now. I'll have to get back into my basketball knowledge before I start making content about it. But I still know a pretty good bit of players' names from last year. But the new players, Chet something is his name coming in. They still have Drew Timme at Gonzaga. 2 big guys. That's gonna be hard to stop, for sure. For sure. Alright, let's see. I want to get a preview of these Friday night games coming up tomorrow. Then I'll probably hop off the stream here for tonight, and we'll be back at it next Thursday. Let's check out the schedule for Friday. Nothing crazy. 2 games. Navy at Tulsa. I mean, Navy's been playing better. We'll see if they can give Tulsa a run for their money or not. And then a no-win UNLV team. Haven't won a game this year yet. Facing Nevada. I'll probably watch that game tomorrow night just because I want to see Carson Strong play. Supposed to be top NFL prospect at Nevada. Should be able to beat UNLV pretty well, but even though UNLV doesn't have any wins this year, they've actually played a lot of teams close. So, but Saturday, man, there is a ton of games even that I haven't even talked about on here yet that just look like they're going to be really good games. I mean, Texas at Baylor, that should be a good one. I mean, I expect Baylor to win, but that is the type of game that just Texas would be like, okay, we're going to just win and mess with everybody to think that we're good again. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of thing that I could see happen. Iowa State coming into West Virginia. Hopefully my boys can hang in there a little bit with the Cyclones. What other good games haven't really touched up on yet? Penn State, Ohio State. Man, yeah, do we think Penn State really has a shot? I don't really think so, but we'll find out for sure. If you had to guess, the starting 5 is going to be Davion Mintz, Ty Washington, Keon Brook, Damian Collins, and Lance Ware or Oscar Tshiebwe. But the roster is so good, I could see it being anyone. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I'm very excited to see WVU play tomorrow in a charity game against Akron, because I'm unsure about who's going to be starting for us. Deuce McBride, Miles McBride, whatever you want to call him, went off to the NBA for us, our starting point guard for last year. He was our best player. So the point guard position is definitely up for grabs at this point. Most of our other players came back, are returning. So I think we're still going to be very good. We got a transfer. There was a freshman from Old Dominion. His name's Malik Curry. He's a potential starting point guard. I mean, his last name's Curry. Not to get me excited, but he averaged 15 a game last year at Old Dominion as a freshman. Transferred here. I can't even think of his name right now, but another guy who played starting shooting guard last year. He's going to be a senior. Very good. He could start at point guard. So, yeah, I'm very, very optimistic about this season. That's a good word to use, but yeah, it should be very fun to find that out tomorrow. It's about midnight, so I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off the stream. Thank you, Drake, for stopping by. I appreciate all your questions and kind of giving me more stuff to talk about up on the stream. This is, of course, my first time doing this type of stream, so I appreciate Drew, who called earlier. I appreciate Mike, all the people who came by and talked some football with me. As we continue to grow, we'll get some more people in here, get some more questions, get some more, people who are fans of different teams coming in here, seeing what their opinions are on the rest of college football. And we'll continue to grow, get more people. We'll do this every week. And yeah, I appreciate you guys big time. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.